What's going on, my people? Welcome back to 44 Hype Podcast. We are on episode number 4. Thank you guys for tuning in. I am here with my good friend, Steven Martinez. I appreciate you, my man, coming
Thanks
out.
for having me, bro.
Yeah, of course. And right off the bat, as you guys can see, we have the American Dream book here with us. And the actual author to this book is my guy, Steven Martinez. Can you talk to us a little bit about this book?
Yeah, man. So, where do I start? So, COVID hit, right? And then I did my bachelor's, right? I studied business. And then during COVID, everything was shut down, right? So I was like, I need to hustle. I need to make money. So I was doing Uber Eats on the side. Actually, it wasn't Uber Eats. It was like Instacart, but you do groceries for people. And then I was like, bro, I can't be complacent. I need to move. So then I started my MBA, my master's in business.
Gotcha.
And long story short, I meet my mentor at a bar at like 2 a.m. And, I'm doing my MBA. I'm hustling on the side. Going to do an internship with Shell. Long story short, he sells me the best pitch ever. He's like, man, I did 20 million last year. Screw the white collar company. I'm in the blue collar space. Come work. I'll teach you everything. So,
you know this guy beforehand? Or?
Never met him in my life, man. I was like, dude, I'm going to get human trafficked. I don't know what he's into, but something inside of me told me, there's a good feeling there. Something could actually happen. So, I'm raised from immigrant parents. That's why the book's called The American Dream. They both came from Colombia for the American Dream. Mom cleaned houses, dad worked construction. They got divorced when I was like 12. But kind of adding on to that, though, anyway. So got his number, called him in the morning at like 7 a.m. when I went running. I was like, man, let's see if he even answers. He like picks up the phone. He's like, hey, man, I was waiting for your call. Stays at the Post Oak Hotel in the Galleria. It's a penthouse, which is like $15,000 a night, something crazy like that. And then pretty much went with him to Louisiana. We stayed there for 45 days. Learned everything from the blue collar space, from the construction industry. So, sales, production, quality control, marketing, traditional, digital, the process of the insurance claim, estimating, supplementing, every step by step, right? Kind of like sink or swim. So I learned everything through him. Lived in Arizona for 2 years. And with that pivotal moment of meeting him, I was able to connect with really high-end CEO owners that do 20, 30, 40, 60 million. And then I worked for Tommy, who did 100 million. Shout out to my boy Tommy. And just based on that whole concept, I started to kind of analyze our market in the blue collar space. A lot of them, or I want to say 95% of them all speak Spanish, and they don't know zero about business. So I kind of saw that kind of bridge the gap moment where I can provide value based on what I've learned through the construction, my mentors, my companies, and just provide that opportunity to them. So I created the American Dream book. It's in English and in Spanish. And then we're also hosting a conference in Houston, June 27th, June 28th.
Awesome. Mm-hmm. And I like how you mentioned that you're learning from these people, but you're such young age. You're 25 now?
25.
25, yeah. Right? And you're writing a book with nothing but knowledge inside that book. Why do you think you're able to do that?
Honestly, and this is just me being honest. A lot of people always tell me that, and I don't say it's thanks to me. I think it's thanks to my mentors. I've been lucky enough to be in the room with some really big people, and I just know when to shut up and listen. So, when I'm there, these guys are 40, 50-year-olds making 20, 30 million. I'm barely making 6 figures at 21 because I was in sales with them. But, I start to kind of recollect things and really understand the opportunity that I had. And not a lot of people, especially people in our kind of niche, right, in our, Latino community, ever have that opportunity because, that space is a little bit more traditional in terms of their values and core. So not a lot of people are kind of undermined to where we should be at. So I was able to be in that room, and then, I saw everyone's looking left. I want to look right. I want to make a difference. I want to help the community, bring value to them. They do subcontractor work. They do laborers, the people that value your car, the people that, give you a towel when you wash your hands, right? They all come here for an opportunity to learn. So that's all it's about, man. Just providing value, educating.
Of course. And that's something that we do run into now nowadays, like you mentioned, right? The Hispanic, the Latino community. We don't realize that, like you say, you're trying to bridge it. We don't realize that bridge is existent. We always lose hope. And so that's the thing that, I'm thankful that my parents, coming from a, immigrant family as well, they taught me that. It's like the bridge is there. We're going to walk you at a certain point, but then you got to take those next few steps. So I'm thankful that I was able to acknowledge that and say, I'm going to run with it. But for a lot of people, like you say, they don't see that. And why do you think they don't see that?
I think it's because they're scared. A lot of people. So it's funny enough. So I went to a conference 3 days ago called SRC, or like 4 days ago. And I was telling my guy, I was like, bro, look around the room. who do you see? And this is the reality of it. How many people do you see that speak Spanish? Or can you tell that at least that look like they speak Spanish? He's like 0. I'm like, all right, how many black people do you see in the event? 0. So I think it's, in terms of, the ethnicity, right, and kind of the demographic that we're kind of targeting, we feel like we're inadequate to be in the same room with certain people because we're scared, because we're uneducated, and it's unfamiliar territory. So what I want to create is kind of that open space to where they feel like they see that value, they see the opportunity, they feel included. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it could be intimidating, dude. It's intimidating. Like, don't get me wrong, man. I mean, lucky enough, we're young, right? I'm a hustler. I have the confidence to, portray myself and sell myself. But some people don't have that self-confidence in them to be in the same room with, X person that did 10, 20 million. So I want to create that environment, kind of like that safe space where our community can all come together, right? And then they can all learn and feel included, and kind of create this transition of movement, to everyone take themselves to the next level.
Taking everyone together. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
You bring the point about you carrying yourself in a room where you just shut up and listen.
Mm-hmm.
Would you say that's one of your strongest character traits?
Yeah. So, it depends too. So, like now, right, in terms of, who I am as a person and what I've learned, if I'm in a certain room, I can provide certain value when I'm asked, right? But, you got to know your place in certain times, right? That's just kind of how life is. You're not going to go to church and, have your phone on ring or, scream or something, you know when to shut up at church. So it's kind of the same concept, right? Like I knew I was in this room with these people. Obviously, I'm nothing compared to how much they're making. So I'm just being that sponge and listening and learning. And then the moment I can attribute and give that value to someone that needs it, then that's when I start to really speak and, give that more of the flow, if that makes sense.
So just adapting to your environment?
That's all it is, man. Adapting to your environment. Survival of the fittest.
Survival of the fittest. That's how the business world works.
Absolutely.
With the business world being so rigorous nowadays, what could you give out a word of advice to the people to keep pace with the environment? Because people lose traction, people lose that pace, and that's where business fall apart. And now you're dealing with a lot of business owners that are successful. What have they taught you about keeping pace, keeping that rigor going?
The number one rule of business and the number one rule of marketing, everything goes in through the eyes, right? So the reality is, and it's just the truth. If you disagree or agree, I don't really care, but it's pretty successful in terms of my case. But, being clean, like having a nice shave, right? Having a nice haircut, dressing clean, right? Having good posture, speaking with affliction, speaking with tone. Whenever you're speaking about anything, a product or service or what you're doing, don't just have your hands sitting down, move, right? Express yourself with your body. Things like that is what people see, because people see visually first, right? When I shake your hand, the first thing I look at is your watch, and then I look down and I see your shoes, right? So it sounds silly, but the reality is everything goes in through the eye. If you have a great product, but your website is shit, I'm not going to trust your product, right? But if you have a legit website and everything looks super professional and your branding and your logo and all this, and you're on the first page of Google, now you call my interest. And then your product's shit, but I don't care. You call my interest. It's like a movie, right? Have you ever seen those movies where you see the trailer and you're like, damn, that trailer's fucking good. Watch the movie and you're like, damn, that movie was trash. Yeah. It's the same concept, right? They get the best segments and they do the marketing to just sell it out. That's all it is.
I took note of that in your book where it says those first few seconds are the seconds that people are going to pay attention, because people have short attention spans nowadays. And if you can grab the audience right there and then, it's like, I'm riding with him. But if you're taking, let's say you want to catch the audience attention 7 seconds, but now you're taking 30, 40 seconds and you haven't caught their attention by that point, no one's going to follow it. So I think that's a huge point nowadays with the marketing. Let's say for us, for instance, we're working on, let's say, the media side of things, those reels, people are viewing them. Why? Because they're short. So people have to come to realization that these short attention spans, it's the truth. You have to be able to catch your audience attention in that short span. So with that being said, now that we've touched on, a little bit about the book, what's the most powerful message that you can get out of it?
From the book in itself, I say there's two things. One is understanding the power of marketing, which is very influential for your business, for your product or service, right? Like, we're in this office space, right? Because you saw, the website on the podcast and all that good stuff. So branding is very important, right? You have to brand yourself the right way. If I'm a roofing contractor and I'm pulling up in a truck with no customization, no logos, it looks a little sketchy, right? But if you have, the yard signs, everything set up, the brochures, the folders, the credibility backing up the brand or the product or service, then you're fine. So that's the number one thing I would take from the book in terms of understanding how to market yourself and sell yourself. And that's what it talks about, sales, production. It speaks about a lot of other things. But the number two, if anything, it might be more important, is networking.
Why do you say that?
Because it's all about who you know, and that's the reality of it. My friend used to say, or my mentor used to tell me, he's like, Steven, millionaires know business, billionaires know relationships. So if you're able to meet the right person or connect with the right, client or person that can take you to that next level, you're winning. I'll give you an example. So let's say I'm a contractor, right?
Yeah.
And I meet a guy at a bar, and he ends up being an HOA president. So he owns this community of all these builds, and a storm just hit, or they need, remodeling or this or that. And I just got a straight connection that's going to make me potentially 10 to 20 million just from one project, just from all about who I know.
How have you been able to keep all these connections though? Because you're traveling, you're moving, you're meeting new business owners. It could be hard to keep up. How do you keep up with all these people?
So what I like to do is I like to attend events, right? So I'm hosting my own conference, but the way it used to happen at the beginning is, you start off small, just like anyone. You put yourself in the door, attend little seminars or meet and greets or conferences or expos, whatever you want to call it. Sometimes it depends on the personality. Some people are kind of introverted and uncomfortable, but you have to get comfortable with the uncomfortable, which is the reality of it. I remember one time I was at this event, man, and I was kind of intimidated. This is like one of the first ones. I was like, fuck, bro, I'm 22 years old. These guys are like 50, 60. They're not going to take me serious.
You feel like the little dog in the room.
Yeah, you do, but you just got to suck it up, man, and, own up to what you're doing and really believe in yourself. It sounds cliche, but it's the reality of it. And these guys think the same way. And when they see that look in your eye where they can tell you're hungry, you're driven, they respect your hustle, your determination, and, they'll listen to you. And it's all about just your first approach, right? First impressions are big. So that's why, if you're dressed properly, you speak with deflection, you're respectful, you look at them in the eye, you stand up when you're sitting down to shake their hands. Silly stuff like that all adds up. And then you have their attention. And then whenever you have their attention, then you start to kind of build that relationship. Hey, man, nice to meet you. I'm Steven. What do you have going on? Oh, that's awesome. Oh, do you have kids? Oh, that's awesome. You have 2 kids? Oh, this and that. Now you have an emotional attachment to the person. So now, quote unquote, it's almost like a friend. So it was funny. My ex-girlfriend always used to say, like, I'll go on the phone, right? I'm like talking, like, what's up, my man? How's it going, brother? How are your kids? How's your day been? And she's like, who are you on the phone with? I was like, oh, my friend, so-and-so. She's like, isn't that your client? I'm like, he's my friend, right?
Interpersonal.
And it's crazy because your clients will become your friends before your friends will become your clients.
I live by that.
It's 100%, absolutely wild.
100%. You'd be like, have you ever had that situation where you're like, man, I'm excited to get this project going. First person that's going to come out and support me is like family, friends. And then you realize you create that project and it's like, where are you guys at? Like, where's everyone at? And then you'll see clients that'll come. That's interesting. And then they'll follow and they'll ride from the beginning to the end.
Absolutely.
Why do you think that's that, though?
There could be a lot of variables to that, man. Some of it is based on, you knowing your network and your net worth, right? So, you are who you hang with, right? So, let's say you're a kid from high school hanging out with kids still in high school, which is not bad. I'm not trashing on that at all. But let's say where you want to take yourself to the next level, you don't want to be around that circle. They're not going to have that same mindset and frequency as where you're at. So, for example, when I was in high school, there was a point in my life where I looked back and reflected, and I was like, I don't want to do this shit. I was like, I don't care about this. I want to be there. And I cut off everyone.
What time and point made you say that? Because there has to be a day where the light switch just flicks.
I think it was more like add-on events to where I just kind of had a self-realization of, hey, man, like, do you really want to be doing this? Do you really want to go to community college? Do you really want to, be living in the same town for the rest of your life? What are your ambitions, your aspirations? Your parents sacrificed all this. Make it happen no matter what. Like, my dad used to tell me this. He still does too, which is a pretty cool saying, but he doesn't mean it literally. It's kind of like an analogy. He's like, I don't give a fuck what you do. You can be a drug dealer, be the best drug dealer in the world. You're going to rob a bank, rob the best bank in the world. Whatever you do, be the best at it. Like, he embedded that as a kid. Be the best, be the best. Obviously, he exaggerated, right? He didn't want me to go rob a bank or like sell narcotics.
No, if you're robbing the bank, dude, I'm concerned.
Yeah, so it was just that's kind of concept, right? Like, whatever you want to do, be the best, bro. That's it.
100%. I can agree with that. And that's something that when you instill in your mind that I'm the best in the room, we're in the same room, we have the same project, I'm going to outwork you and I'm going to have the best end result. When you have that mindset, you can carry yourself into any situation and really elevate yourself. I think a lot of people are scared to think that way, though. They kind of like lowball and belittle themselves in a way, and they kind of hide in that shell, and that's where you hold yourself back. When I see someone that's holding themselves back and I see the potential, I'm the first person to say, dude, you have this amount of growth left to, achieve, but you're limiting yourself by saying, but, those excuses. And when you cut those excuses off, you take off.
Absolutely.
And could you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. To kind of add on to what you're saying, so would you say those people that were your friends, quote unquote, did they have that mindset that you have now?
Back then or
back then?
No, of course not.
That's why you cut them off, dude.
I had to get out of there. I had to get out of that room.
There you go.
You coming from high school and then going, what happened after high school? What was your transitional phase from there? Because I know high school you went to Clemens, correct?
Yeah, so I went to Clemens in Sugar Land. After high school, I lived in England for 4 years. I played soccer. I was big into sports. Played soccer for 4 years, lived in Leeds. I tell people London because people are like, where's Leeds? I'm like, dude, I don't want to explain myself, so I just say London. I was there for 4 years, studying international business, and then literally as soon as COVID hit, I pretty much graduated. I never even got to do like the walk through or whatever you call it for the graduation ceremony, which kind of sucked. But after that, obviously COVID hit, and then Trump was president at the time. He had the rule where everyone had to go back into the States, so I went back to the States. And I just started hustling. I started moving, doing groceries for people because no one could go do groceries for themselves. So I was making decent money, and I was like, man, I need to make more money. So I was like, let me do my MBA, my master's. I took my GRE, or I applied. And through that whole thing, I got an internship, and that's where everything kind of started to fall in line. But it's like, my mom always used to say, she's like, you're a lucky guy. And I don't think there's such thing as luck. I think it's more you create your own luck.
Because you're trial and error.
Yeah.
And you're, like you said, you did grocery. That's stuff people aren't willing to do. Maybe that's not what you were looking forward to. Maybe that's not what you wanted to do, but it was helping you, grow your money. But then the opportunities start to fall because you start to meet people. You start to network, like you said. You do different things and you meet different people. So I think that's crucial because I myself, whenever COVID hit, I couldn't do anything, right? We were stuck. But I was like, man, I need to grow a skill set right now. So I started doing like short little YouTube videos, which in the end are helping me out now. But then I started cutting people's hair. I was finding a way to make money because I was tired of just sitting in there. And people were like, dude, you're crazy. Like, you don't even know how to cut hair. I'm like, I don't know how to cut hair, but watch me learn. Yeah, watch me learn. I'm going to watch these YouTube videos and I'm going to learn it. Going back a little bit, you said you were in Leeds, London.
Yeah.
How were your 4 years there?
My experience there was nice. I definitely think if anyone ever has the opportunity to travel out of their, I guess, homegrown city or town, to definitely take advantage of it, just because it puts you, first of all, makes you more open-minded, right? And then second of all, it kind of cultivates you to the real world. You see a whole different culture, different foods, different people. You start to appreciate the little things. And overall, I think it just helps benefit you to see the bigger picture. You know what I mean? You're not just living in a little utopia.
Well, what's the difference between London and the U.S.?
First of all, the weather there sucks. It's cold.
And it gets dark quick, huh?
Yeah, it gets dark. You actually have to take vitamin D because there's lack of sun there. But it was vigorous, man. I remember I used to wake up at 6 a.m., walk down to the bus station, those double deckers?
Yeah.
So I used to go into them and then drive to the campus/field, and then we had training. And then after training, we had school, and we either had 1 or 2 classes, and we had training again. And we had a nutritionist, and then we had to drive back to the city, and then we had to go to the gym. So it was a lot of discipline. I don't know how I did it, honestly, looking back at it, dude. I was really a machine. And I think sports, too, in a way, kind of helps you craft that mentality. A lot of people always ask me, or like owners are like, who should I recruit for my sales guys or this or that? I'm like, honestly, I always see good results in former athletes.
They don't want to lose.
Because they don't want to lose. They have that mentality. They're team players. You know what I mean? So always, if you could hire an athlete, go for it. I always think that's good to them.
There's a little quote, and I think I commented under one of your Instagram posts, but it says, winners never quit and quitters never win. And if it's very simple, but it hits, it hits a soft spot because winners are never going to quit and quitters are never going to win. And the reason for that is because the moment you say, oh, I can't do it, you're never going to win. But if you have the mentality of eventually I'm going to get there, and Kyle Forjard said, if you just keep going, you're going to get there. But the moment that you make an excuse and you kind of stop and you hold yourself back, you don't get there. And so athletes, I could agree, right? Athletes are like that. They're going to go through their day. They don't want to lose. If we sit in the same room, like I said, you're not going to want to lose. If we're competing against an opponent, it doesn't matter the stats. If you're a high-end athlete playing, let's say Leeds, for example, it doesn't matter what the other team is doing, what good their record is. A winner's mentality is we're going to go in there and we're going to show them who we are. So transitioning over to the business world, you see that in people?
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. I have the mentality where I refuse to lose. A lot of people say, oh, you have to learn from your failures, but there's no such thing as failures. Really, just learn. It's just it's a life lesson, right? And if you plan things out and really prepare yourself the right way, right, you're not gonna lose. There's no way if you're set up the right way, because people don't want to see you lose. People want to see you win. The right people.
The right people.
So if you network yourself with the right players that want to support you, your dreams are ambitious, and want to take you to the next level, they're gonna help you out. I could call one of my buddies right now and did 30 million and ask him a question about business, and he'll answer. I was like, hey Paul, I have a question about your sales guys. How do you incentivize them? He'll say, oh, I pay them 10%, blah 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 blah, right? So people like that want to see you win, right? And it works both ways, right? Some people will reach out to me and I'll be like, hey man, it's all about just networking and carrying yourself as a community and taking yourself to that next level. And that's something that the Spanish market doesn't understand. A lot of us Latinos are more, obviously we met through Chris, but a lot of them are very kind of, I want to say, selfish, right? And I don't mean this in a bad way. We just kind of focus on ourselves because we're kind of defending, right? Because we're like, we're a minority group, and then people, kind of overseeing us or kind of undermine us, so we're kind of already in that protective, like, close state, like no one wants to help me, I'm not gonna help you. But no, dude, the most people that I've seen help each other make the most money, they all network.
They help each other grow together.
Absolutely.
Help each other grow together.
Some of the biggest companies I've seen that technically are competition literally call each other on the phone every day and ask each other, have calls like, yo, bro, let's collab. How do you do this? How do you do that?
I've noticed that nowadays where someone's not willing to give you a piece of advice, or kind of, hey, we want to collaborate. Oh no, like we don't collaborate. But then you see the other business owners, they're collaborating and their name's up there. They're known for good things. They're not known for being selfish. So I could 100% agree with that point there, that networking in the business world, especially as an owner, you have to have collaboration to be able to grow. If you limit yourself, only us, that's not the reality to it. You mentioned not losing, but learning opportunities. To you, it's not a loss, right? It's a learning opportunity. What have been the biggest learning opportunities for you? We won't call them losses.
The biggest learning opportunity for me was when my balls dropped and I left Scottsdale, Arizona. Yeah.
How did that
come
about?
I lived there for 2 years, and I was making the most money I ever made. I think I was 21, 22, doing high six figures. And I had a realization of myself where I was like, I'm not going to make money for you. I'm going to make money for myself. I'm an entrepreneur. We're in fucking America, the greatest country in the world. I'm gonna make my dreams happen, the American dream. So started from zero. I remember this. I was in the apartment, and then I gave all my stuff to a single mom. I was like, here, just take it. Nothing. Probably in the bank, maybe a couple $1,000. And I was just like, let's go make this happen. Got in the car, drove all the way back to Houston. Maybe had like $2-3 in the bank. But I had two things that I left with that I never had when I came, which was experience and then my network.
What's going through your head? This drive back, what's going through your head? What are you thinking?
It's scary. It's scary because imagine you're comfortable, you're working a solid 9 to 5 in sales, you're making high six figures. You're making money that you've never done before. It's very complacent and comfortable. So a lot of people wouldn't want to leave, right? But sales is also a high pressure position in itself. But to kind of add on to what you're saying, I was just more like, man, I'm tired of making the owner the money. I want to make myself money. I understand it, but I have my own concept, right? So everyone mimics business in certain ways. You know what I mean? You're not the only person that sells, flips, and trades shoes, right? There's different people. So it's the same concept. And I was kind of like, I have something, but I want to kind of shift it to the Spanish market. And I think there's potential there. I really do. And I believed in it. And I just left. Got everything, went there, and I started from zero. I was staying at my mom's, and it's crazy because pretty much had no capital, but I had connections. So this was the first thing I did. I said, all right, you're a business owner. Number one thing you need in business is revenue, right? Revenue is sales. So people need sales reps, right? And a lot of them are based on just solely commission based. So they're not really paying them, like a 9-to-5 salary, W-2. So I talked to one of my buddies. I was like, hey, man, how would you feel if I ran your ads for your sales guys for LinkedIn, Indeed, ZipRecruiter? You don't have to worry about the tedious bullshit. I got everything. I'll run the applications, qualify them, and I'll get them in the door with you. He's like, that sounds great. How much? $5,000. So I'll do a 2-week campaign, get the results in 3, and bring him hopefully 5 to 7 qualified reps. Or hire 1 or 2. With one job for a contractor, he already made his money back, his ROI. So any job completed after that, it's just profit, right? So it's a no-brainer. So then I started reaching out, got him results, and then he started referring me to different people, and I started reaching out to my network, started getting referrals, kind of building my own brand. And people already liked me because I was in sales, and they knew, I had relationships with them. They weren't just my clients, they were my friends. So I did that. And then the moment I started to really kind of get the ball rolling with that, I started to see how all these companies operate.
So would you say this is your first taste of entrepreneurship where you just made your own buck?
At that point, yeah. My own money, yeah. Everything was mine. Obviously, I had to put in money for ad campaigns and advertisement and all that. But yeah, everything was solely coming into me.
When you first got that taste of entrepreneurship and actual success of, I just made $1.
Yeah, it was great.
By myself,
yeah.
Was there ever going back?
No, not at all. Not at all. I loved it, man. I was like, man, this is good. So then I started to build from there, and then I started to learn from other companies, but not just, I pretty much had like an insight on how to operate a $50 million company. I saw everything. It was like, this is what we do for our sales, our production, our marketing, blah, blah, blah. So I started seeing everything, and then I applied my concept from school, from like my master's business, right? So I used the system and procedures concept to shift that and kind of tailor it and customize it to the blue collar industry. And that's where I started going from the recruiting just to make capital and liquid, shifted that into consulting. Because then I told my friend, I was like, hey, I'll do a free marketing analysis for you. I'll do a brand analysis, look at your SEO, all this other marketing stuff, whatever. He's like, yeah, man. I was just like, I'll do it for free. Just give me a testimonial, right? So he was like, yeah, for sure. I'll get a free marketing analysis for free. And that's when I started shifting into the consulting side. And then that started getting really big. And then that's when I was like, now I'm helping all these guys make money, which is great. But now there's a whole 90% of the industry that speaks Spanish that want to learn. So then I looked right, did the book, did the conference, and it's been absolutely blowing out the water.
That's awesome to hear.
Mm-hmm.
I really like how you're a young entrepreneur, right? Because you don't see often these young entrepreneurs doing that consultation. Why? Because they're scared that age is going to limit them.
Yeah.
How did you earn your respect, or what do people think of you when they see you?
Well, in business in general, it's all about reputation, or just in general, right? It could be any business, it could be a restaurant, it could be whatever you're doing. I think it's number one. It could sound cliche to some people, but being respectful takes you a long way, and being nice. No one wants to do business with the asshole. That's the truth. A lot of the guys that I've met that make the most money are some of the nicest people, and you would never guess how much they're making just because of the way they act. They're not flashy. They don't talk to you. Like one of my friends, for example, he runs a multi-billion-dollar company, and he'll literally go to the janitor or the lady cleaning. She's like, hey, Maria, how's your family? How are you doing? He actually cares. And I think that's what takes you to the next level of being a better person and doing better business, right? It's just being respectful and nice to people.
And it's funny enough that you mentioned that, because my mother herself, I think we've kind of had a short conversation on it, but she recently just made a purchase that, is life-changing for her. Her entire life she's working for someone, and now she's working for herself. She's the most humble person that I know. She said simple helps you grow. And I didn't really know how to take that, but then it started making sense because she does the simple, right? She'll say hi to all her employees. She'll make sure they're okay. She'll ask about their family. They love her, right? And when she told me that, it kind of started to make sense. Simple will help you grow, because if you're in the room with someone and you show them that respect, like you say, they're going to respect you right back, and there's no conflict between you two at that point. But now if, we're in the same room and, I'm eye to eye with you, and I don't even have the courage to say, oh, hello, my name is, right? Someone's going to think of, oh, this guy's an asshole. They're not going to want to have anything to do with you. You potentially just missed out on an opportunity that could have been life changer. And like Absolutely. You said, your mentor changed your life in a way. And it was a simple, hey, I'm Steven, and that's all it took. So that initial introduction, that initial presentation of yourself, marketing yourself. Do you think that's important nowadays?
Absolutely, 100%. You know, the way business is set up is, so you have your people to people, right? That's why some people need sales reps, because some people go door to door, they knock on a door, or let's say you run your own business and you have to kind of sell yourself to sell the product or service first, right? So having said that, now I'm going to use two concepts here. Follow with me. So marketing, right? You don't need a sales rep. Netflix doesn't call you and say, hey, do you want to sign up for Netflix, right? You just sign up and pay for it because they market themselves well. So it goes in through the eye because it gets your attention. It builds that kind of like emotional attachment to where you're just like, ooh, I want to see that show.
Yeah.
And then you sign up and get Netflix or Hulu or whatever. Same concept with the sales side, but now instead of it being on a software and digital and visual, it still enters through the same emotions and the same receptors as the marketing. So everything goes through the eyes first. To kind of add on to what you're saying, you know, you have to be presentable, market yourself well, be respectful. Other than that, you know, just have that drive and passion. I know it's hard to find. I mean, I get my day sometimes where I'm a little slumped, but what I like to wake up in the morning and I like to listen to like music with high BPMs to kind of raise my, you know, my blood a little bit. Start pumping up. I'm like, all right, let's kill it.
Yeah.
You know, so have energy. No one wants to talk to someone that's, you know, hey man, do you want to like buy this phone? And like, oh, it's the best phone ever. Like,
boring at that
point. Bro, but this is the best phone. This just came out today. There's 2 left. You know what I mean? What's the difference there, right?
No, for sure. The high tempo, the high energy.
High energy, understanding sales tactics, understanding your consumer. You know, there's 3 types of consumers. You have type A, type B, type C. Type A is alpha, assertive, dominant. They don't like to be sold. Type B is methodical. They kind of be like, all right, cool, bro. Let me think about it. You know? And then type C is kind of like daisical. So, like, you know, you have to follow up with them like 2 weeks later, right? Because they just forget. But, you know, again, just knowing your consumers, how to target them, how to reach, how to get their attention. And it's all the same shit. It doesn't matter what you own, what business you operate. Consumers are consumers, right? It's just tailoring it to them the right way. That's all it is.
Gotcha. What is a day under the life of Steven Martinez? What does that look like? Oof. A busy day.
A busy day. I like that. So usually I will wake up in the morning. I need a coffee. Dude, without a coffee, I can't function. So I have a coffee, take a cold shower. If I'm not feeling the cold, just do a hot shower. And then I like to play music in the morning. Again, just to kind of establish my day, my routine. One thing I have to do before I leave is do my bed. I know it sounds weird, man. I'm very like OCD and organized, and I think that's because of my mom. Like, she cleaned houses, so she just kind of got me very like, you know. So I would always do my bed, get everything tidied and organized, and then once I feel like everything's set up, go on my phone, look at my social media, make sure everything, our posts that we're doing for our daily content's posted, do my emails, my follow-ups, and then usually around 9 or 10, I have 2 or 3 lunch, kind of dinners, business stuff to do in a point, maybe a couple Zoom calls, phone calls, and usually around the evening, I like to either go to the gym, and then after the gym, I'll probably have another late night, like meeting with someone for dinner or something, like a drink. And I come back and off to bed.
Enjoy yourself. Yeah.
There you go.
Okay. Going through your day, right? You're on calls, you're on Zoom calls, you're in meetings, you're at lunch. You're releasing that, you know, face-to-face energy with people, and it can be drainful because, right, let's say we're having this podcast now, we're on for an hour, we're talking. Time you're out of this, you're like, damn, I'm kind of tired.
Absolutely.
How do you drive yourself to finish your day with all these calls and all these meetings and, you know, all these like different scenarios where you're at lunch with these business owners?
So there's 2 answers to that. The short one is coffee, right? It just kind of wakes you up. But the real answer is, and I know exactly what you're talking about, because in sales for my first job, dude, I did like maybe 10, 15 Zoom calls a day, and those Zoom calls were 30, 45 minutes. And, you know, I can't just be in the Zoom call and be like, hey, my man, how's it going, right? Every time I was like, what's up, man? How's it going? How's your day been, man? How's business like? Let's make that shit better. Let's get you going, right? So that takes a lot of energy. And then the thing is, too, in sales, if it doesn't go your way, it's even more draining because you're like, fuck, it didn't happen. I didn't get the sale.
I just put all this energy out and it hit me.
Exactly. So the number one thing is that self-talk, man. Like, I'm telling you, it sounds weird or goofy, but, like, for me at least, you know, before I have a Zoom call or
Put us in your shoes.
Yeah,
what does it sound like?
I have a Zoom call, a phone call, man. I'm like, all right, I got to call in 5 minutes. Man, I just had 3. I'm a little slump. I kind of do like, you know, twist my neck a little bit. And then I give myself a self-talk. I'm like, got this shit. I like to drink water. I'd never answer a phone call when you wake up because you're sound groggy. I've learned that the hard way. So even if you have a call, bro, and let's say you just took a nap or whatever, give it like 5 minutes. Stand up, walk around a little bit, drink some water. That way your voice, because some people will know, you're like, oh, man, did you just wake up or something? That doesn't look professional. So I do that little self-talk, and then I kind of bump myself, and that sounds silly, maybe like a little jump or something.
Yeah.
A couple push-ups, get the blood flowing again, just kind of,
ready to go.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's all it is, man. I mean, it's the truth, too. The moment you understand that, you're in the door all the time.
Yeah, because I hear a lot of people say, oh, I'm tired. And obviously this is people that, I'm not going to surround myself with. It's just people that you run into, right? Mm-hmm. You tell them a little bit about your day. Yeah, I just finished doing this, and this. Like, what don't you do, right? It's like, what don't you do? And you'll hear people say, oh, it's because I'm tired. Or why didn't you go to the gym? Oh, it's because I didn't have enough time. Or, oh, it's because I already did this. Right? Mm-hmm. But there's always opportunity. When you're young, it's like you got to take advantage that you're young. When you're older, you really and truly do have an excuse, right? Mm-hmm. Your body physically cannot do it anymore. But when you're young, I always instill this with my close friends, right? We talk about it all the time with Chris. It's like, you're young, bro. Go out and do that shit. Don't limit yourself to what you can do in one day because of what everyone else is saying.
I agree.
Don't overwork yourself. You're doing too much. This, and that. I'm just like, cut the bull crap. Like, that's not the truth. You're just saying that because you're afraid. Yeah. I'm doing it because I'm not afraid. And I always like to instill that on people. It's like, do as much as you can in one day. If it doesn't sound like a crazy ass day where people are like, you did not do that in one day. It's like, you're not doing enough. You're not doing enough.
I agree 100%. I've actually had that thought before too. I'm just like, man, I'm not going to be this young again. I got to take advantage of it. I don't have kids, so I'm not old. I don't wake up, my knees don't hurt. So it's the truth, man. And the thing is too, and I think it's because we're young. I think young people are kind of like, man, I'm young. I'll do it tomorrow. Tomorrow comes, push it off for next week.
I saw one of your reels that said that people are like, oh, I'll do tomorrow, and then I'll do tomorrow, and it just keeps pushing it off. Mm-hmm. And you're like, do that today. Why'd you put that out there?
Because this is a reality. If you want to execute, if you have a vision, you need to execute, right? Anyone can have a vision, but if they don't do it, it's just a dream. If you have a concept and you want to make it happen, then fucking make it happen. It's as simple as that.
Just putting your foot in the water.
That's right? All it is. Not even putting your foot in. Dive in there, bro.
Dive in there right off the bat. Yeah.
Putting your foot in there is putting it on your diary, telling you you're gonna do it.
Yeah. No, I get you.
Dive in there and actually make it happen.
Get you. Yeah. What is your daily motivation, or not daily motivation, but what's the biggest kind of catchphrase or motto that carries you?
I have two driving forces. One is something that's always been embedded in my head as a kid, which is be a better version of myself every day. Doesn't matter what I'm doing. And, it could be a simple thing as don't have that soda. Don't, do this. Make sure you do your bed. Take that cold shower that is good for you to wake you up. Silly things like that all starts to add up, right? There's like a saying, what is it? If you better yourself for a year, 1%, in 10 years.
Yeah, that little percent starts to add up.
Yeah, exactly. Same thing. And then the second one, which is really my driving force, which started it all, is just my mom. They got divorced when I was young, and I just want to give her the opportunity that she deserves, and I don't want her to wait until I'm 35, 45. I want her to get what she deserves now, so I need to make it happen no matter what it takes. And I was lucky enough to find something that not only is going to provide that monetary value to help her life out, but also give monetary value to other people in the market. So it's really a beautiful thing because not only are we helping each other out, but we're helping out, hundreds of people with the concept that we're doing.
That makes sense. And that's beautiful to hear, that you rely upon your mom and your parents that, that kind of guided you. Mm-hmm. What's something that your mother tells you? Because the word of a mother is so impactful. Mm-hmm. It's crazy. You can hear it from 1,000 people, but when your mother says it, it's like, it hits different. Yeah. What's something that your mother instills in you that
when I was young, I used to wake up around 5 a.m. to go help my mom clean houses. I was 13, 14.
The hustle,
yeah. So, and no one forced me to clean, help her clean. I just wanted to do it. I was like, Mom, I'll help you. I'd help her take out the trash, I'd help her broom, vacuum. And we had these little kind of one-on-one moments, and she was like, you're different. She's like, you're going to get us out of here. She's like, I see something in you. She's like, just you're fire. I was 14 when I did my first job. I was working at fucking Incredible Pizza in the back, making $7.25, making pizzas. You know what I mean? After that, I started high school, and then I worked at Banana Republic during the summer, and then I did Uber Eats. I don't care, dude. Sometimes when I needed money, I would call my clients. Not now, but back then when I really needed liquid, I'd talk to them, like, hey man, I'll close you X amount of deals for money, and I'd go to, you know, let's say Maryland, Minnesota, Iowa, and I'd go on top of a roof, do a whole full roof property inspection, look at the shingles, the damages, inspect it, file the claim, the whole A to Z, right?
Yeah.
I don't care what I have to do. I'll make it happen no matter what. You know what I mean? That's just the way my hunger and drive is, and it's taking me this far. And people kind of see that, you know, it's that aura that people give off, like that trans, like you have it, right? You have that energy. You know what I mean? And it's not just that in itself too, but law of attraction plays itself a big role into who you meet. You know what I mean? Like, obviously we met through Chris for a reason, right? I met my mentor. I would have never met my mentor. Why? How did I meet him? Why did I meet him? You know what I mean? That energy, that frequency, that attraction.
Because I bet if he didn't feel that in you, he wouldn't have gave you that opportunity. And it's crazy because those are the people that are most knowledgeable, and they have that wisdom where they've seen it and they've done it. Mm-hmm. So they see you, they're like, yeah, that's a version of myself when I was younger. You know, I'm attracting that energy because that's what I'm giving off. If you give off a lazy energy and an energy where maybe I'll get the job done later in the week, you know, they don't want that.
Absolutely. So one of my friends, Carlos, he was saying how, you know, most of us are made out of water, right? And water has energy, right? It's frequency, right? There's waves and motions and currents. And he asked me this one time, and he had such a great point. He said, are you ever at a place, right? And then someone comes, but you don't see them. And you just turn around and you just magically see that person kind of like walk by. It's that energy, bro. It's all here, right? We're all atoms. It's all matter. So, you know, when people are in a room, especially someone with a high caliber and a high level of energy that, you know, is active, right?
You just kind of feel it.
You just feel it. You know what I mean? And what's his face? Isaac Newton, right? One of his laws of physics, an object in motion stays in motion unless an object acts upon it, right? So that's very true. You know, don't just fucking stay in bed. You're going to stay in bed all day. Get up and start moving. Do something simple. Do your bed. Do the dishes. Do the laundry. And then those little small tasks start to really kind of transform what you're going to do throughout your day.
It's crazy when you think about it like that you say the law of attraction, because it's 100% true. It's factual. You're in a room. You could have 100 people. You kind of just start diving into small little groups, right? Everyone just kind of has, if you ever go out, right, to like a restaurant or to like a club or whatever the case might be, you kind of start having like these little groups that not everyone's talking to each other. You can't talk to 100 people at once, but those little groups that kind of start to close in, you then start to realize, wait, we have a lot of similarities. Like, we're all hustlers. We're all in it to win. And that's something that I haven't thought about when you put it in that perspective, but it's so true. You kind of start to dive into these small little groups. Again, you can't talk to 100 people at once, but then you sit around and you look at your circle like, holy crap, you know, this is who I am, this is who he is, and we're all kind of in the same boat. And that law of attraction is factual, dude. It's factual. Pushing a bit forward to the American Dream, the conference. How did this start? So where did this idea come from?
Good question, actually. So I have had mentors and friends that have hosted their own events. My first mentor does a pretty big event where he gets 5,000-6,000 people. I've had a buddy of mine does vertical tracks. Had, I think, maybe around probably 1,000 people now. My buddy Hunter has an event called RoofCon, probably hosts around 8,000-9,000 people. So I've learned a lot of people in my space that are kind of top tier, you know, the 1% of the industry. And not just from me knowing them, but me meeting the people that also create these events. I was lucky enough to be in that same room. And with my first job, but then also my second, and just kind of understanding how it all worked, I started to see the back end stuff on the whole process of creating an event. And I actually used to be a club promoter too when I was younger.
So you got it in you, yeah.
So I've always had that networking kind of aura. Yeah, I was actually in college. I was living for the 4 years, and I needed money on the side. So I used to, you know, I like to go out here and there sometimes, and they were like, do you want to make extra money? I was like, sure. Like, just be a club promoter. So I did that for a little bit. But I understood it and understood the concept of events and, you know, getting people into a room. And then I saw into a professional scale, like a professional setting, to a bigger magnitude. And then I was like, whoa, everyone's doing all these events. And now kind of how I told you with Chris, I was like, well, no one's really done anything like this for the Spanish market. You know, the most things you'll do is see like a meet and greet at the Hilton or Dave & Buster's, but no one's actually created an actual professional event with a professional venue that's sponsored by Telemundo, that's sponsored by Odyssey, that has a person that did 9 figures in real estate. You know what I mean? Yeah. And we have some of the biggest speakers. So now we're taking this to the next level where people are going to be like, wow, this is serious.
And I love all right, that's why I didn't hesitate to buy my tickets.
I appreciate that, by the way.
No problem, man. It's all support, it's all love, right? We're all going to grow each other. But I like how you said that no one's done it before, because that's an opportunity for you to kind of, you know, grab an audience, and it's an audience that you say you want to bridge. Now, let's say you've created this idea, you're looking forward to this event. Now people see, hey, my buddy's going, why not me, right? Because people like to feel included, like you mentioned earlier. So if I see, hey, you know, all these people are going, I should go as well, right? And they kind of hop on that wave, and it's just like a trickle effect. It carries all the way through, and I think it's awesome to see that, because now everyone else is wanting to hop on board, because they're Hispanic, they're Latino entrepreneurs that have really never had an opportunity to go to these events because they're afraid. But now that they see this opportunity, it's like, let me jump on board, and this could, you know, potentially be a life changer. I can gain something out of this, and I can push forward.
Absolutely, 100%.
So with this event going on now, and you say you know the backbone to it, you've learned kind of how things work. What was kind of like the that day where you said to yourself, you know, I'm putting my foot on the gas and we're pushing forward with this?
The moment I did my first walkthrough. Yeah, I remember like it was yesterday. So it's in the Bayou Music Center. It used to be where the old Hard Rock was, right? And I was kind of just searching up venues for the concept, right? And I was scheduled a call with this girl named Lily at the time. I was like, hey, I'm interested in booking it out. I don't even know she took me serious the first time she saw me. She was like, this kid's not going to pay this amount of money.
Yeah.
You know, but she was nice enough, and I mean, she knew I was here. I was here to play, or you got to pay to play, and she knew I was going to pay. So we did the walkthrough, and then the moment I get on stage on that platform, that's when I'm like I don't know, I got chills down my spine. Like, this venue is huge. They've had Eddie Murphy, they've had Chris Rock, they've had Elton John, Billy Joel. They've had a lot of famous people in there. And we did the whole tour. I was like, let me go on stage to kind of feel it out, because I'm going to be a host. I'm going to speak and stuff. And the moment I got on, I just got chills down my spine. I was like, this is happening.
You're going to make it happen.
I was going to make it happen. And then the first thing that really set that kind of match on fire was when I got my first sponsor. So now I was like, there's no going back.
Yeah.
And because I started promoting it, I was like, hey, we're doing this conference, we're doing this event. I did the walkthrough, and like I was pumped, energetic. So that kind of like lit the fuel. But then what sparked it was the first person that actually paid it, because I'm like, now there's no going. I gotta make it happen, man.
It makes you believe.
100%, man.
Yeah.
And you know, when it's really an appreciative thing when someone sees your vision and values it. And you know, I'm in this situation where people are making X amount of money, and you know, they're entrusting me with, you know, their money to help them open up and expand to a different market, which is the Spanish market, and educate and provide value. So it's pretty humbling, and you know, I'm excited, man. It's a lot. Sometimes when I think about it, is it a lot of pressure? Yeah. Can I do it? Fuck yeah. What happens under pressure, bro? You make diamonds. That's all it is.
No,
it's just all here.
Couldn't agree anymore. How do you scale this from something so small, like you said, right? You're a club promoter, and you were dealing with things at a small scale. How do you scale it from that to a fucking venue where, you know, you've had Eddie Murphy? Like, how does that even happen?
I think it's just more on my experience with the people I've met, with my friends that, again, I've done other conferences, and I understood the magnitude of it. I mean, could I have done something smaller? Yeah, for sure. I could have gone to, let's say, a regular hotel. I could have rented out a convention hall for maybe a couple $1,000, right? But I didn't want that. No one's going to take that serious.
Go big or go home.
Go big or go home, 100%. And then it all goes to the eyes, too. And, you know, again, that marketing concept of, you know, big stage, you know, people attend these crowds. Like, dude, it's sold in itself. And that it just gives a whole different meaning to conferences for the Spanish community. Because the moment you go to that Spanish conference, the moment you go to the American Dream event, you're not going to want to go to any other conference for Latinos. Yeah. Because that's the best one. Kid you not.
All the people that are coming out here, right, as guest speakers, do you have a relationship with every single one, or is there some that you've, you know, kind of mediated through someone else?
Well, right now, they're all friends of mine, yeah. But I've also had scenarios where I've been connected. Yeah. They're like, hey, man, you're doing something amazing. I want to get involved, and I want to connect it to a person that might be interested. And then we've exchanged numbers. We got on a phone call, right? And then we start to kind of talk, build that confidence. And then, you know, follow up, emails, the whole sales game. And then, you know, they're all in it. It's an opportunity it would be silly to not take, because it's never been done before. And as a business owner, you see a whole new market out there that could bring potential clients. And also not just that, but you're also bridging a gap and providing value. So it's literally a win-win-win.
Win-win for everyone.
Yeah, and then my conference is to the point to where you can try to replicate it. You can try to do this, but you're not going to have my partners, my sponsors, my speakers, my venue. It's going to be something to where it's going to be extraordinary. And it's built for people that are our age, that are Latinos, people that are 35, 45, If you don't know English, we'll have a translator there that's gonna kind of translate. So we've thought of everything. We're excited.
That's awesome to hear, bro. I'm excited for it. I can't wait to be there. I know you're gonna have fire guest speakers. I know the audience is pumped up. Get the show going. The guest speakers that you have coming out here, have you been kind of selective on who you're bringing about, because you are trying to target a certain audience?
Yeah.
So are you being selective about the people that you're bringing out to guest speak?
Absolutely. So the way it's set up, if you go to a conference or an event, they'll have 300, 400 vendors. Out of those vendors, more than half of them are telling you the same stuff, right? So there'll be two law firms talking about the same shit, and there's no actual value, right, for the attendee there at that point, because they're like, dude, I'm already hearing the same stuff. And then as your sponsor or vendor, there's competition now, so you're not maximizing your exposure. So everyone that's speaking and involved in my conference does something different. One guy does systems procedures, one lady does real estate investment, another lady does property management. One guy does digital marketing, so he does like SEO, the whole digital space. One guy does traditional marketing, like yard signs, brochures. One guy does estimating, supplementing. We have a law firm involved. We have a guy that's really big in the real estate space as well. I mean, again, if you notice, it's all these variables that you need to help build your business. It's not just people speaking the same stuff, because there's no point in that. I'm there to make money. I'm there to just provide value and, prove my concept the correct way to the market. That way they appreciate it.
I like how you're bringing in a bit of everything, because for myself, right, before we actually even ever met, once Chris started talking to me about a little bit more about the the American Dream and the conference that's coming about, I asked him, I was like, but what's the true meaning behind it? He's like, hey, he has a book, you can read a little bit about it. I was like, dude, throw me that book. I'm going to read about it because I'm interested to know about it. I myself, right, being Latino and being an entrepreneur, it caught my attention. But once I saw that you're bringing in a bit of everything, right, and there's a few of the guest speakers that you have on your website where it shows, hey, this person's in the real estate side of things, this person's in the marketing side of things. It's like, I myself want to do that, right? I want to touch a bit of everything, because if you limit yourself to one kind of audience, one kind of how do you say this, one road, right? You don't open up all these other roads. So I'm trying to open up different doors. Like this summertime, me and two of my close cousins, we're working on a real estate purchase. And so now we're diving into the real estate, right? We're dealing with realtors. We're dealing with the backbone to it. We're dealing with, hey, the demographics, where the best purchase is going to be. And so I myself would want to go to something like that where I'm going to hear someone that's already done it and has experience in it. And the best way to network is going out to it. So I saw one of your reels that said your net worth is your network, right? Or how does it go? Your network
is your net worth. Yeah,
exactly. So being out there and being able to speak to these people, I think it's a huge opportunity for everyone, and it's something that, right, he didn't pay me to promote this, but you should be out there. Like you're gonna put yourself out there. Tickets are almost sold out. Make sure you're getting your tickets. So I appreciate you putting this together for for the community. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, no, man, I appreciate it. I'm happy to be that person that can just bridge the gap. I'm no one special, man. I see a vision, I see an opportunity, and I just want to execute it. That's all it is, man. And anyone can do it. I guarantee you that. If they were in my shoes and they had that confidence and drive and that fire in them, anything's possible.
And this is happening in June, correct?
Yeah, June 27th, June 28th. You go to www.americandreamevent.com. But yeah, we're almost sold out too, and it's all the way in June, so it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, no, we're February, March, April, May, about 5 months away.
Yeah.
About 5 months away. Yeah, 5 months away. What is this time and period right now for you?
Right now is more kind of the organizational side of it, organizing everything with how we're gonna allocate the catering, the VIP event that we're gonna do, kind of like the silly stuff, the swag, the notebooks, all that.
Yeah.
But we've pretty much perfected everything from the speakers and vendors, and from the attendees. We're already sold out. So has it
really hit you yet though, that it's like this is something that I'm hosting, like this is mine, it's not I'm going to an event, this is my event? Has it hit you yet?
It's funny because with the book, my mom was like, you should be so proud. It's but then I look at the big thing, I'm like, yeah, it's an accomplishment, I guess, but anyone can write a book. It's like if you're in college or you're doing your master's or your PhD and you're writing a thesis or a dissertation, if anything, that might be more than a book. You know what I mean? Anyone can do a book. It's not that big of a deal. It's just setting your mind to accomplish a goal and setting it and executing it. And having said that, with the conference, it's a milestone for sure. But I think it'll probably hit me But there's actually a thing that they say, the moment you accomplish something, you don't get that fulfillment. It's the journey, and I think that's what it really is.
The journey to it.
The journey to it. Because the book, when I had the book, nothing impressed me. It's not like I woke up with this like euphoria, like, oh my god, I just did a book.
Yeah.
No, I think it's more like the process and the hard work that goes into it, appreciating it. It's pretty cool. So having said that, I think the whole process and journey of me getting the attendees filled in, selling out, getting the sponsors, the vendors, that's beautiful in itself. And then probably the moment I grabbed the mic for the first time, like, damn, like, that's cool. So,
that's going to be insane, dude. That's going to be insane. Yeah. So are you planning to be a guest speaker yourself, or are you more just like, I'm leading on the, the guest speakers that are already coming out?
I'm just going to open and close.
Host it?
Yeah. I like to leave the experts for them to educate, what they're good at, right? Like, if you have a company, you always want to hire people that do better than you in certain departments. You never want to be the smartest person in a room. So I'm definitely not the smartest person in that room. And I want to let my people take the mic, take charge, and provide that value. Have you
always been that person that says I'm not the smartest in the room, or has that mentality changed as you've matured in a way?
So there's two sets of that. My self-belief and confidence wants to think I'm the smartest guy in a room, but the reality of it is I'm not. So I have that confidence to where they're like, yo, this kid, he looks like he's onto something special. But maybe inside I'm just listening, what I mean?
Yeah.
So again, it's how you market yourself, right? You can't, let's say you start off for selling shoes for the first time, right?
Yeah.
You don't know shit about shoes yet, right? But you sound like you know what the fuck you're talking about. But you start to slowly understand shoes, and then you start to slowly understand more of your product and service. So now you start to create that credibility and rapport for your clients. It's the same kind of idea and concept for sales or business. Some like, what's that saying? If you don't know, you figure it out, something like that.
Yeah.
Right? Or finesse it until you make it, whatever it's called.
Fake it till you make it.
Fake it till you make it.
Really, like, you're learning as you go.
That's all, exactly. So, the more you start to learn and appreciate things, then you start to kind of self-recite that with that confidence and build it more and more. But to answer your question, if I'm in a room, do I think I'm the smartest? No, I'm sure there's smarter people out there than me for sure. But I still have that confidence in me where, I'm not going to let anyone undermine me for anything.
Yeah.
So it's just finding that balance.
So finding the balance, and that's something that's difficult. You have to understand, hey, that person knows more than me. Let me just kind of sit down and listen to them, because you have people that they're in the room and they want to act like the expert, and they're not the expert, and you're holding yourself back in a way. So being able to understand that you are not the expert in certain realms, and just letting that other person take over and teach you those values, because I have ran into people, like, let's say conferences, events, certain scenarios where they take the mic and they don't pass it around, and you're limiting yourself by not allowing other people that might know more than you. So I kind of sit back, and if I'm meeting someone that has already done more than me and is more successful, I'm just kind of gonna sit back and ask questions and really understand how they got there, because those people are willing to throw like that knowledge towards you. And we were just talking about it on the way here. It's like, they'll throw the knowledge, but you have to do something with it. Like, how is it I can open the door, but you got to walk through it, right?
Absolutely.
And that's a concept that could take you miles away.
Absolutely. I agree.
With that, opening the door and you walking through it, having those mentors that have taught you these valuable lessons, at what moment do you take what they give and just kind of run off with it? Like,
that's a good question. I've actually had moments where I was in Arizona and I was doing well and I was learning a lot, and I kind of thought, should I leave now? But then I was like, I really thought about it and had like a plan of action, right? Well, okay, Steven, if you leave right now, like, what are you actually going to do? What's your concept? How are you going to set and achieve your objectives, right? Everyone needs, at least to a certain extent, some sort of strategy to achieve what they're going to do, right? So I was like, I don't think it's my time to shine yet. I'm going to hold back. And one of the main things that you have to realize, at that time too, I was using my head. But then the moment I knew I had to go, that's when I had that gut feeling. It's two different things.
Just kind of told you, like, I've gained enough knowledge and now it's time to
It was just my gut telling me, man, when you have a bad feeling or a good feeling about something, that's how I felt. I was like, it's time. Like,
yeah.
It was my gut telling me, like, let's go start your own thing, man. But in my head, my entrepreneur head wanted to already leave months ago.
Yeah.
But I wasn't ready yet, and my gut knew that. Something inside me knew, not just yet. And then I just felt like I learned and had everything set up to where, all right, it's time for the bird to leave the nest, and that's when I...
That's fire.
Yeah.
That's fire, bro. this entrepreneur lifestyle, it's on go, 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 go. How do you enjoy yourself? Like, what is your time away from the entrepreneur life? What does it look like? How do you enjoy yourself, dude?
I mean, I'm Colombian, so I like to go out and dance. It's actually crazy that you mentioned this. I mean, everyone's different, right? I've had friends where when we were in college, they would just sit in their dorm all day 24/7. They won't even like go to the movies or go to the mall or, I don't know, go out to a bar or something like that. But me, it's, I like to live in the moment. I would consider myself a hybrid. I don't think I'm introverted or extroverted. I think I'm both, but maybe a little leaning more to the extroverted side. But I can't be stuck in a place, bro, and not do nothing for, 24/7. I need to go out at least to a movie or go to a bar and talk to a girl, get rejected or get accepted. Who cares, right? It's the journey, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I love music. I love to dance. If I ever need to let off some steam, usually I'll do that on the weekends or something.
So you mentioned the ladies. Are you outgoing? She's like, could you say, I'm gonna walk in this room and I see this girl, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna present myself, like kind of shoot your shot?
Oh,
are you that kind of guy? Or are you the guy that holds back and is like, I'm gonna wait and see if this girl comes to me?
I'm a straight shooter, man. The way it works, I could write another book on this. So again, it's all about understanding your consumer too. So you have to understand your consumer. Are they type A, type B, type C? I've noticed I kind of go for the type A girls that are just kind of feel some sort of way, like don't talk to me. But there's a strategy to everything. You can't talk to them. You can't be the first one to talk to them or the last one.
So you're toxic in a way.
Yes and no. I just find the perfect moment, man. Like, as soon as I get in there, obviously she wants to go in with her friends, enjoy her drink, enjoy her time. And by the end, maybe she wants to leave or maybe too many dudes hit on her, so she's just like annoyed. So I kind of find that balance and I just go with my gut feeling. I mean, I just have the confidence.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who hits on her or not, but...
Do you have a certain type?
Do I have a certain type? No, I think all women are beautiful.
Think all women are beautiful?
Absolutely.
What about personality-wise? Because I know you're a guy of high-end values, right? You're very mature, so you're gonna run into women out there who are very mature. So do you have a set value that you look into a woman, or is it just man? We'll see where it goes.
I do, man. You kind of said as a high-valued man, you need to find a high-valued woman, and it's not all about looks. It's about what they're gonna do and kind of put into your life, from an emotional, mental, financial standpoint. You don't want someone to drain you on all your variables, right? Like emotionally, mentally, financially. You want to find someone that's there for you, right? They're living their best life, doing their best thing, their careers. They're trying to make the best version of themselves every day, and you're in the same concept. And you guys kind of just merge together, and because some people kind of just merge their lives into one, and then they lose their identity. I think it's important for you to focus on who you are as a person, and them do that too, and then just at the same time intertwine that to where you guys can both share beautiful moments together and provide value.
Provide value, that's a big thing. Is that the first thing that you look into a woman? Like you said, right? They gotta have to kind of like just their shit together, right? They gotta be striving for those goals. Yeah. Is that the first thing that you look for when you're having like these conversations, right? Like you run into a woman and you're talking to her and you guys are having a conversation. Do you look into that right away? Is like, are you trying to get somewhere?
I mean, for the most part, when I speak to a woman, I like to understand her values, what she represents. I know for in certain scenarios, some women look for money, which I understand. For me, it's more, what do you have to bring onto the table? Like, I already have the money. You know what I mean? So how can you make me a better version of myself? It's not all about looks or, looking pretty or this or that. It's, again, tying it into who you are as a person to really take yourself to that level.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so you mentioned dancing. You mentioned enjoying your time going out, right? You're Colombian. You also mentioned you like to play here and there. Soccer, right? You used to be an ex-player. Do you keep up with it at all, or not as much anymore?
Dude, not as much, man. I'll be honest. I wanna keep going back into it. I mean, I love sports. I played my whole life. When I was in Arizona, I kind of got sucked into that sales life, dude. I was working from like 9 to 9, and I didn't really have any free time. And I was in a new city. I didn't really know anyone. But lately, I've been trying to get back into it. I have a group of friends, and we try to play and stuff like that.
That's great.
But I love playing it. I think it's a great outlet for energy.
I think exercise is very important. Like for just, you're out there in the business world, you're draining your energy towards, getting sales, generating revenue. But when you go out there and you exercise, it's like your body just let out these toxins, right? That you've spent your time out and, trying to make money. But when you're out there and you're enjoying yourself and you're exercising, it's just like you're like a refresher, you know, like you just got refreshed and you're ready to go again. Because I myself kind of challenge myself to exercise a little bit more, because I'm so involved with the business world that I've kind of caught myself like, oh my God, dude, you need to exercise a little bit as well, because it releases those toxins. So, you know, it's something that maybe, you know, we look into. We got to make an indoor team or something.
Dude, I'm down.
Play some co-ed or whatever the case might be.
If you want to play soccer, we could play. If you want to go to the gym, I'm down for that. I need to go more than, I would like to go more than I should. Did I say that right? I want to go more than I'm.
Yeah, I want to go more. Yeah.
You get it. So I definitely need to work out more. It's just, dude, I get so busy, man. I'm telling you, it's nonstop.
Yeah. Ever going.
One time I had a Zoom call. Not a Zoom call. One time I had a phone call as I was taking a shit. I'm not gonna say who it was with. It was a Sunday. It was a Sunday too. People don't work on Sundays, but if you're an entrepreneur, this is 24/7.
Yeah.
And I had a call on Sunday, maybe like at 9 p.m. Like the worst time ever to ever do business, and it closed.
You gotta put yourself.
So just to put yourself in that situation, kind of like Wolf of Wall Street vibes, like everything's like, you know, moving. So I remember, I won't mention his name, but I closed the client on Sunday at 9 p.m. taking his shit.
Did he ever know that?
No, he's not gonna know that.
That's hilarious, man. But no, I appreciate your time, dude. It was awesome to hear, you know, all of the knowledge that you've learned as you've gone, and all the lessons that you've learned, and also the American dream, right? You published a book, now you have the event coming up, and you're only 25, so there's a long road ahead of you. So I appreciate you for coming out, man, and truly a blessing, you know, to have you on here, being able to speak your mind. So thank you for everything, man. Yeah,
thank you.
All love.
Yes, sir.
Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll catch you on the next one.